Hey, Scott Jordan and Mark Warner here for Jancast number 159, Thursday, December 21st, 2023. And Mark, this will probably be our last show of 2023, unless we want to do something when we're not supposed to be working.
Well, the other thing is that this could be our last show where we need to talk about COVID variants. Because
Yes.
by 2024, it'll all be gone.
Yeah, right.
Not
Hey, I believe the sun's going to kill it.
sure.
Yeah. Somebody said that. Somebody really smart said that. I don't remember who, but we're not going there.
But the crazy thing is this new variant that's out there, the JL1. So it's accounting for about 20% of all the current infections that are happening in healthcare. And what they're finding is that it's more transmissible, more contagious than some of the other variants. Not really hearing much about its how fatal it is. Like you think about when COVID first came out, people's lungs were getting infected and going on ventilators, and some didn't make it. But this sounds like it's spreading very fast, and it might be more similar in symptoms to a bad case of the traditional flu that we've all had to fight year after year. But it is something to think about, Scott, because as we sit here and put together this show for you all, we're kind of in the heart of the holiday season. So it's when families all get together, and it's something everybody ought to be rather conscious of.
Yeah. Well, I went to the supermarket yesterday to get my Frito-Lays because, you can't buy Frito-Lays in the week before Christmas. So I got an early stash of Frito-Lays because, Frito-Lays are really hard. They're almost harder to get than disinfectants were back in 2020, right?
Why?
Because everybody wants to have dips,
Okay.
I guess they can only make so many. So, but I was at the supermarket getting them, and a lot of people wearing masks. So it made me think, geez, maybe I should be wearing a mask. But yeah, it's not going away anytime soon.
Odd thing about masks is at the same time, we've got people in healthcare suggesting people optionally wear masks as they go into healthcare facilities. You got cities and politicians in certain eastern cities that are trying to forbid masks. So there's definitely some confusion out there as to where this is going to end up.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what a great year we had in 2023, and then obviously going back even further. But we've had some excellent shows. Going back to 21, we had starting out with a whole bunch of really great guests back in 21 and 22. We got Jeff Cross, who's boosted our numbers right through the roof.
Yeah, he put it out there in social media, and bang.
And then we had Steve DeVito. And I think he must have a very large family because I don't know, his show was super highly listened to or viewed, however you want to state it. But yeah, we've had some good ones in 22 and then the same thing in 23.
Well, the ones that kind of stood out for me in like 22 were like Branton Cerro of the ISSA. We had John Atkins of the ISSA. We had Millie Washington of the IICRC, and some other folks that tied in and really kind of pulled all that together. There were some really super ones. We had Lisa Lavender. We had Jim Varnell of the concrete industry. And Roger McFadden, who's kind of like the green guru. And I guess probably one of my favorites, though, I'd have to say was I'm getting a chance to meet Don and Grant Aslett of the Museum of Clean. That was pretty cool. And in fact, rumor has it, Scott, that they are going to be using some of your material at the Museum of Clean display.
Oh, yes, that's right. So stay tuned for next year. We'll be at the ISS. We are exhibiting at the show next year. Bullen sponsored an F1 car, so I have my own slot behind the hotel.
You'll be able to get to those meetings faster than anybody else. That's for sure.
Yeah, it only cost me $50 million for that slot, but you know, we'll have the car in the booth maybe, right?
Do I get to drive it?
Yeah, sure,
That could be
sure. You
dangerous.
do some Uber work in the evening. So this year we've had some excellent guests.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what we're leading to is this year.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So where do we start? No, we got
Well, I think, it's worth saying that in January, our goal was to do these, like monthly or roughly in that
yeah,
sequence. And it really depends on when these VIP guests are available to do the recordings. But we started off the year with Dr. Gavin McGregor-Skinner.
yeah,
Great guy. He talked all about COVID. He talked about the GBAC program, the GBAC Star program. That was hot on the news in January of this year. So that was a fantastic show.
yeah.
That was followed by Jeff Cross, who we invited because he was going to boost our numbers again.
Why
No,
not,
Jeff
right?
has done quite a bit for us in terms of putting the word out there.
Yeah,
So that's been, greatly appreciated.
yeah.
And who do we have after Jeff?
Blair Thomas.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Blair was probably the only sports celebrity we've ever had on the show. For
we
those of
don't. Yeah,
you
we don't.
that,
We don't have many sports celebrities that also promote the Bullen brand.
yeah, well, we're gaining a few. We have Tom Cronin of the
Oh, that's
National
right.
Hockey League now.
Yeah,
So, but with that said, certainly, Blair Thomas is pretty well known in the state of Pennsylvania. He was
oh yeah,
a Penn State hero and #1 draft pick and went into the NFL, played for a bunch of teams, fought some injury, which is sad,
yeah,
but happens.
yep,
But great guy. That was a great interview. It was neat to chat with him.
yep, yep. And Graham Dick, who you work with on the S410 thing, right?
Yeah, so Graham's conversation with us was fascinating.
Yeah,
He's deep into the restoration community and sits on the S410 infection control standard. He's the chair and just amazingly knowledgeable about decontamination of infectious areas. A little bit different twist than let's say talking with Dr. Gavin McGregor-Skinner,
yeah,
but Graham's restoration company does all that kind of work for healthcare, for hospitals,
yeah.
long-term care, and
And his reference was we have it in the show notes. I'm trying to remember what it was. The use
kill
of the
juice.
kill juice. What?
Yeah, people just want to walk in and spray all the kill juice around, and they don't know what they're doing. It was like
Yeah,
great term.
that was a good one just because I hadn't heard that before, Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good one for around the holiday table. Pass me the kill juice, please.
Well, that's intimidating. Like, no, don't drink that. We had Diana Steinbach,
Oh
who
yeah,
got on. That was around August of this year,
yep,
and that was fascinating. You and I know Diana from the days she was involved with the
yeah,
ISSA
yeah,
as one of ISSA's leaders,
yep,
and she is now running NAW, a leader within the NAW,
yeah.
which is National Association of Wholesalers. So it goes beyond Janssen.
Just
Very, very
a
big.
little group, just a little group.
Yeah, yeah, quite huge. But the Janssen industry is growing with
Yeah,
all these M&As. And so we
yeah,
followed up that conversation with engaging our own Gary Henderson, had some conversation
yeah,
about current state of mergers and acquisitions and how they might compare with mergers and acquisitions that happened 20 years ago.
yeah. Gary lived through that just like we did, and it was great to have his recollection of how things are very similar, or maybe a little different, but also very similar to what's going on now.
Yeah, no doubt. No
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah. And then John Hill, we had him back on again because robots have progressed considerably since the first time we had him on.
Yeah, he brings up the term all the time. He's like, when you're mapping out your future goals, you know, in general, you have like a 5-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 1-year plan. But in robotics, it's like 5-day plan, a 3-day plan, and a 1-day plan. It just all happens so
Yep.
fast.
Yep.
And he was actually one of the pioneers of getting people to accept that robots are not designed to replace people in the
Yeah.
cleaning industry. They're designed to work in conjunction with people. And, you know, that's where his name of his company came from, Cobotics,
Mm-hmm.
which was, you know, all about the fact that they're a teammate that needs to be used as a tool,
Yep.
not somebody to replace a human being. And he had that particular program that was what, October, Scott.
Yeah. October
He
19th.
talked
Yeah.
about the whole workloading thing in a different way than has really been discussed prior. And that was when you're doing workloading, you treat the robot as though you're workloading and staffing a person,
Mm-hmm.
and you're giving that person duties that are kind of daily routine care type duties, and moving that into the slot. So the whole workloading and staffing concept was interesting. I
Yep.
know that in the past I talked with John about IoT, the Internet of Things, and
Yep.
how the future is liable to have facility managers sitting in a room that looks like the NASA control room with cameras everywhere and literally watching what all the robotics are doing and where they're going and what they're seeing and what they're cleaning.
Yep. Yep. Well, it's coming,
Yeah.
certainly changing. And then our last guest for this year, other than you and I, which we're not considered guests, but was with Bill Balek, who's stepping down kinda officially after, what was it? Was it, I don't have the notes in front of me, 35 years, 38 years?
Yeah, 30 plus.
Yeah, pretty impressive that somebody's been around that long at one place. But Bill has been a really fantastic resource for Bullen over the years. With, you know, nice to have a regulatory specialist that you can just kind of shoot an email out to, and within a minute or two you get an answer back, kind of satisfying all your needs. And I know you worked with Bill at ISSA just like I did, but you worked even closer with him when you were at ISSA.
Yeah, he's was a great guy to work with.
Yep.
Just really all one of those people that always seemed to express that he cared
Yep.
and would go out of his way to help. And, you know, technically, in this day and age, especially the last 3 years, that's become a rarer and rarer trait
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
somebody that's, you know, that's nice to be around and wants to go out of their way to help someone.
Yeah.
But he's that kind of guy. Very
Yep.
cool.
And shout out again. He definitely the best ever person for announcing the changes to the bylaws and the business meeting at the ISSA show. For years, I would look forward to Bill getting up in front of the group and passing through these resolutions that would change the way the association was going. So way to go, Bill.
Well, you know, we're picking on Bill there, but
Oh, but he was really good at it, though.
he was definitely good at it. You know, the funny thing is that the backstory on some of these folks that we had on, as great as the shows were,
Yeah.
you know, there's the outtakes that nobody actually knows about. Like
Yeah.
when we were talking to Graham Dick, nobody really knew that the guy was a motorcycle racer. And shortly after the show, he was in a motorcycle
Yeah.
race and wrecked and broke his foot and all that kind of stuff. You know, there's all these backstories which are
Yeah.
kind of interesting. And then Gavin was talking about how when he was doing work with the Ebola outbreak over in
Yeah.
Africa, and his neighbors found out that that's what he did, they kind of didn't want to engage with
Yeah.
him or his family and said it was particularly hard on his family. And that was shocking to me because what he was doing was heroic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet he was kind of shunned by the community because everybody was so afraid of all that stuff. So there was some interesting backstories on all this stuff, like
Yep.
even John Adkins and you know, he had some backstory stuff
Yeah.
too back in the day when he was really just focusing on research rather than being, you know, the
Yeah.
senior VP.
Well, if you want to watch/listen to those shows that we just talked about, we changed the Jancast page on the Bullen site a little bit, and I'll put a link to YouTube. So because we have hundreds of shows, originally the page just had one after another, and it caused a loading problem, would be the easy way of putting it. If you have 160 shows, it has to load each little picture of the show there. So we've changed the page now. It lists 5 or 6 of our most recent shows we've got, so you can watch them right on the website there. Or you can go to our YouTube channel, and there's a specific playlist for all of the Jancast shows, even some of the early audio ones. So we'll put a link below this one so that you can go there, and you want to dig into show number 151 or 156 or whatever. They're all there.
Hey, did we ever find show number 1?
Kind
From
of.
2004, I think it was, right?
Yeah, I believe I have that up there.
It's
I'll double check, but yeah,
that was in the days of audio only and
Yep.
using mics plugged into iPhones, and
yeah,
kind of amazing.
Yeah, technology was not quite there yet, but
I can remember we were talking about it being a form of audio podcast, and people would say, "Pod what?" Right? And now it's podcasting is just mainstream language.
Yeah. We had Joe Rogan wanted to be on the show, and I said, "No, sorry, can't do it. It's not the right vibe for our show."
That's
well,
funny.
Mark, it's been a good year. A lot of fun doing all these Jancasts with you, and also thanks for everybody that's been tuning in and the feedback we get. We get feedback all the time from people saying, "Great show, fantastic." So, looking forward to 2024. Going to be a lot of changes going on. Still mergers and acquisitions and all that stuff. You never know. So, yeah, it's been a good one.
Well, with that said, Scott, I know this is Thursday, December 21st.
Yep.
And it gives me an opportunity because of the date to wish everybody a very happy holiday season. Yep. If you have a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and stay safe.
Yep, that's right. Stay safe. That's an important thing. So you can tune in next year. Okay, folks. See y'all. Have a great holiday. And thanks again for being a Jancast follower. Appreciate it very much. See you, Mark.
Thank you.